Well, good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Ellithorpe at Tustin Longevity Center here in Tustin, California, Southern California. We're a group of 8 or 9 healthcare providers that are dedicated to health as it should be. Our motto is medical care as it should be because life matters. Where care happens, health happens. And so we try and do preventative, natural, anti-aging, longevity type medicine using preventative and lifestyle along with or preventatively. We can certainly use all the standard of care that we allopathic physicians, I do general practice. We have naturopaths and physician assistants, and all these things have their place. And but the greatest thing, since 85, maybe 90% of all medical care today is from chronic medical problems, and that's really lifestyle cause. So the doctor of today, the healthcare provider of today, needs to become a lifestyle coach to you, get to know you, to be supportive and encouraging to you as you make step after step to allow your own body to do much of its healing. So that's why we do these once a week videos called Ask the Doctor Anything. And we are here Tuesdays at 6 o'clock. We go for an hour, and then we'll take any question you have. It's not meant to be personal medical advice. If you are one of our patients and you have a concern, please do call the office at 714-544-1521 and leave your questions so the doctor can address it that is seeing you. I'm very happy that more and more physicians, more and more articles over the years. I've been practicing 42 years, and I see many articles and doctors starting to, and maybe especially since this flu season that we went through for the past 3 years and all the concerns, that having good health is really what's going to help prevent any serious outcomes to any situation. And delightfully, we're starting to see many people start doing their own research, taking responsibility for their own health care with a doctor that's working now to become more informed about the natural physiological ways and lifestyles that we have to embrace in order to maintain health or restore health. So again, this is to be a support for people, not personal medical advice. And we have the email questions that come out. If you're on our website, tlcdoctors.com, you can get on to our newsletter, and then you'll get a link prior to these weekly YouTube videos. And you can type in a question. There'll be a little link there, and it'll go directly to the site where we gather up people who have questions. We've had very good responses. Some of these things are repetitious, so we do have a printing out of the text so that you can kind of jump through and maybe just read those questions that you have interest in. We are also encouraging, if this is a benefit to you, to please share and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can help more and more people maintain their health. And these are the times now especially that we need to see that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We're designed to heal. And so with good advice. The problem is there is, in the world of the internet and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all these other scenarios, there is a lot of opposing opinions. And it becomes difficult for you, the patient, the person out there trying to sort out what's best for me. What we can offer to you is really there's no good training out there we in medical school did not get a good training in prevention or nutrition or lifestyle medicine. Rather, we were taught as allopathic standard medical doctors to do the find the diagnosis and use the protocol and the prescription imaging and or surgical therapies that are provided. So it's a challenge when these doctors are starting to open up, probably for their own family and themselves, and see the need in their own patients that they're going to see every day. But I am happy to see more and more of them start to open up. So I want you as the patients to have a open heart to understand your doctors that are starting to do this may not have 42 years of experience. And I'm not saying everything I say is 100% correct. I have 42 years of experience, having been raised by a father who worked in food research. And so all my life, from my childhood, from the earliest age of 4, I was at his labs and listening to discussion on our lifestyle and our health. So being 70 now, so that's 66 years roughly of experience, and 42 of those actually practicing medicine every week. So uh, I will do my best to try and answer your questions, give you my feeling about approaching these things. And we'll start now with the live chat first, and then we'll go to the emails. On the live chat, Tara says, "Hi, Dr. Rita. Do you see patients that live out of state? I have not had much luck finding knowledgeable naturopathic locally." Well, you see, we are ruled by a bunch of laws. And so service is trashed for lawfare. And one of the things is malpractice wants to define and corral me into a jurisdiction, and that is for I practice in California, so I see California patients. I don't practice in the other 49 states. So out of state people who come here and physically see me once or twice a year, and this is a pleasant place to come to: Southern California, Newport Beach, San Diego, Los Angeles, Long Beach. All these wonderful places are a nice vacation spot. So it would maybe work in for you to come out here. And then if you're in this area and seeing me physically, then I think my malpractice will cover it. But you see, that's where the problem is. I would hope that you would work with someone in your area that is trying, and you could give them this YouTube, and they could certainly ask a question themselves. We do take doctors here, healthcare providers, to shadow us. We do rounds every month. We have a monthly round where we practice we shut down the practice rather, and for a couple of hours, we 8 or so healthcare providers bring up challenging cases or bring up scientific data to discuss. And currently, we have a new electronic medical record system that we're working very hard to employ right now, and so it's very difficult to try and run it all together. But Tara, try and work with someone that you can find or come out here. We are very happy to have those doctors come and shadow us, and they can try and do it on our monthly grand rounds. We do that on the second Tuesday of every month. So next week on the 9th of January will be our grand rounds where all of us meet together and discuss things for this. So hopefully that's an encouragement to you. And you just keep on trying. But if you can come out here, that would be the best. And maybe have a nice little vacation. So Amela says, "Hi, Dr. Rita. What is the cause for angular cheilitis in teens and how to address it naturally?" She also goes on to ask, "How long is it safe to use uva ursi tea? or grapefruit seed oil capsules for detox. Well, I would use grapefruit seed oil capsules continuously. If you have a complete digestive stool analysis that shows that you have some overgrowth of a type of pathogen or bad bacteria, let's call it, and it is sensitive on the sensitivity to uh, uh, uva ursi or grapefruit seed extract, then I would use it for a couple months and then retest and have that done and see if it's improved. Of course, there's lifestyle changes, probiotics, low carb diet, exercise, good night's sleep, other nutrient screening that needs to be done, but like vitamin D levels. But there really is no set length of time. But I get patients coming here that have boxes of supplements, and they throw their hands up. They don't know what they're doing, and it's true. Most of the physicians and healthcare providers are not familiar with these products, and they can't endorse them because there's no reference material on them for the most part. There's very few nutraceuticals that have good third-party peer-reviewed data on them. So it becomes a challenge. Then you're left with doctors such as myself who have vast amounts of experience with certain products and their impact and these specialty testings. And this is what the doctors really need to learn and see. Um, Now back to your angular cheilitis. This is where the corners of your mouth can get wet with your saliva, and the cracks in here can uh, break down, getting to the dermis there and create inflammation. Often we see this in teenagers, and this is usually aggravated by things, fungus like candida from their high carbohydrate junk food lifestyles. It can just be the normal bacteria that live on our skin. Some of these are strep and staph type bacteria. So often kids who have braces or other mouth devices, adults who have to use CPAP or are using certain nighttime mouth guards. And what happens is you're washing your face and washing your body because you're marketed to think that you can scrub clean your body, and you can't. You have bacteria on your skin. It's a barrier, and you have hundreds of old dead cells that create the dermis, that kind of dry, flaky layer. And you make your own natural oils that kind of create the mortar between these dead, dying cells, and it creates a beautiful seal. And it's this excessive marketing and cosmetics and working on the face or other body parts and the skin by showering too much, bathing too much hot water, and that will swell the dried dead cells that create part of that packed layer, and then they swell and they crack apart so the bacteria can get in more easily. So this would be helped if you would leave your face alone and get away from all these topicals, and try and not lick the corners of your lip. It can be a tic or a habit that a child has or an adult has, and be on a low carb diet. And you might use Argentine silver spray and just put that on at nighttime. And then you will have an antibacterial that's quite safe and will not harm your natural flora. All right, so let's go to the next one. Deborah, my sister. Hi, Debbie. Uh, I wanted to ask what your suggestion might be for items needed for our daughter's new baby. If a need arises for sickness, fever, a fever reducer, vitamin D for babies, anything else? We've given my grandchildren the liquid vitamin D3, and it's 1,000 international units per drop. And usually they'll put in 1 drop every other day, something like that. That's what we did with our grandchildren. Um, we also have given them the uh, Juice Plus capsules. We open up 1 capsule of the fruit and vegetable into their food when they start eating. Um, if they had a fever, remember, there's God created a fever for good things. It helps produce heat shock proteins and raise up the immune system to attack viruses, bacteria, pathogens. So we don't race to lower a fever unless it's very high, and you watch the child, the infant, as long as they're taking their liquids and they're alert and they have eye contact and are acting appropriate. We'll let 101 fever, 102, and then get a pediatrician locally. You can have them checked out, make sure they don't have any ear infection or any, have them look at their lungs and stuff like that. But liquid Tylenol is probably they have it in dropper forms as well, and they have suggestions by the baby's weight how much to give. So using a vitamin D would be probably very good. So that's what I suggest, Debbie. And I'll talk to you on the phone about also the pilot. I did look at the email, and I'm happy that the pilot bars are going to be coming in now. So that's exciting news. So we are working on the doctor's nutrition bar. We had to find, as you know, the new location, a whole new producer, and resourcing for the ingredients to make these phospholipid-rich, protein-rich, very low-carb protein bars. Because remember, I always point to this picture, and if you talk about your skin, aging, your cells, your organs, inside your cell membranes, your nuclear membranes, structure determines function. You can't have a broken wheel on your car and drive it. So if the structure of the wheel is flat, then you can't drive it. So structure determines function. And this is one big area the healthcare system has totally messed up on. They don't understand the cell membrane and its absolute relationship to the inside functioning of the cell. And yes, you can be eating terrible things and toxins and high carb diet and not drinking enough water, and that'll affect the cell membrane. But essentially, if you're not eating phospholipid fats and essential fats and cholesterol, you're not going to have a good cell membrane. So I don't care how good your vitamin is. You're just not going to have good cell membranes. It'll be much easier to poke a hole through any membrane, be it your skin, your eyeball, your blood vessel wall, your kidney, your brain cells. All these things will be damaged if you don't understand cell membrane repair and lifestyle diet. Hence, that's why we say, please eat your eggs, please eat your meat, eat your fish, eat the skin with your chicken on it roasted, eat your pork, you have your butter, use the lard, beef tallow, and things like that to cook with rather than these seed oils that are hydrogenating and generating fractured hydrogen bonds and trans fats and all that kind of stuff. And that's in all the junk food. And they do that to create life extension of the food storage to make them money. So it's all a game of marketing and we're damaged because of it. So these phospholipids are critical, and they're rich in meats, fish, chicken, turkey, beef, eggs, butter, things like that. And we were made to be frightened to take these things for fear of saturated fats, and that's all been proven wrong. But of course, they don't put that in the news, and the poor doctors out there aren't taught that in medical school. So Dennis says, according to my functional neurologist, chronic deep loss injuries, chronic sleep loss injures neurons. Absolutely. Is the injury reversible? Absolutely, it's reversible. But you have to eat what the cell membrane is made of. And that's not just the outside of the cell, and it's a double layer. It's like this all the way around, okay? And these are the little phospholipids, fats hanging down. Every inside organelle has it, the nuclear membrane. You've got to eat the meat, fish, chicken, turkey, beef, eggs, and the butter, and you have to be low carb. And I would do EDTA chelation therapy, and I would also, uh, try to use systemic enzymes. I would do the fasting intermittently, and I'm on my prolonged fast right now, so I haven't eaten. I'm starting day 2 with no food, so that's one of the ways we can stimulate repair, get rid of the old, build the new, and that includes the brain as well, Dennis. So absolutely, this is valuable, but don't forget the benefit of EDTA chelation to improve the microcirculation, so you get the little pathways of the tiny little hair, like less than a hair capillary, to reach those brain cells, to bring them the building blocks to repair the brain. And then, of course, you want to do all the brain exercises that you can, listening to classical music, doing puzzles, uh, learning a new language, exercise. These various things are also important. Amela also says, after adjusting the Armour Thyroid dose, how long does it take for it to take effect? I would say within the week, Amela. Christina says, hi, Dr. Rita. I'm having a few issues. Left hand only yellowing nails. Left arm possible eczema above the elbow. Right now, migraines and mild stomach nausea. What should I do? Thank you. God bless. Well, I would see the doctor. I would have you see your doctor and let them look at these areas and examine you, because you're bringing up various areas. Indeed, gut inflammation can create a lot of skin issues, dermatitis. That also means the nail bed changes will show up in your nails. Eczema will do that as well. So let your doctor see that. And of course, all those healthy lifestyle things that we always talk about, which is try and eat a more simplified menu. The world is marketing to each of us to try this exotic food or that exotic food, this spice, that spice, change it from breakfast snack to lunch to snack to dinner to snack, and variety, all kinds of sources of restaurants and things you can buy and eat, because eating is an entertainment, and it isn't. It's harming us. Plus, they've put junk in this and other things that are quite damaging to us, and therefore it will harm the wonderful system, the machinery of your gastrointestinal system. It'll damage the cell membrane. You remember, the cell membrane in your gut is only one membrane thick that separates between you and the world out there. So by doing intermittent fasting, eating in a restricted time, 10 to 4, noon to 5 or 6, being low carb. We teach a 1 menu day where we say, this is your chicken night. You cook chicken tonight and green beans and butter and salt and pepper them. Make enough so you can take it to lunch with you. So your gut and the immune system is seeing a more calm, repetitive, so to say, they're tooled up for that menu. And then the next night you can change it to meat and broccoli, and then make enough so you have something to warm up for lunch the next day. The third day could be salmon and asparagus. You've heard me say this over and over. So the more simplified, the more you control your food and cooking it, rather than trusting some advertisement center. It just really breaks my heart. I have some YouTube people that I watch, real life situations. They're building a homestead, or they have some kind of thing going on, and they are sponsored and they have marketed supplements, and they're young and they're taking in these powdered green mixes into a whole drink day after day after day after day after day after day. And they don't have any idea about oxalates. And those greens like kale and spinach are full of oxalates. And God help you if you don't know how much stress it is biochemically on a high oxalate diet. And getting that in day after day is not normal. This is not what the human body would ever have had over, the 6,000 years we've had this planet to live on. So I would certainly say we need doctors to get educated. We need to help our patients take responsibility. The logic of a simple one menu day is consistent with our ancestral history. Nobody had this kind of variety to choose from before. Um, David says, your sound is bad tonight, choppy. Oh, I'm sorry. Could anyone else let me know if the sound is choppy? I'll need to tell that to Talon and let him know. Thank you, David, for letting me know. Happy New Year. Uh, Amela says, copper supplements make me nauseous. Any advice how to take them? My nutrient panel came back as borderline deficiency in copper. I wouldn't pay attention to that, Amela. I would just stick with the standard multi-mineral vitamin that you're on, and there's a little copper in there, and that should be sufficient rather than focusing on trying to manipulate bars and graphs on studies. Uh, the you can upset your zinc and copper balance by supplementing with supplemental copper or too much zinc. So just stay with your multi-mineral vitamin. Healthy foods, meat, fish, chicken, turkey, beef, eggs are all very, very rich in these minerals. Christina says, these videos are a blessing. Thank you so much. Okay, Christina, well, thank you very much. Birgit says, hi, Dr. Rita. My shins been hurting since July 1st. I used to walk 3 miles a day, and now I'm hurting with just a little walk. Getting worried what to do. I have tried exercises. It sounds like you're getting shin splints, Brigitte. That's very common in people who do prolonged walking. One of the things that would be very important is your hydration, water. Getting water with maybe some trace minerals in it, put a dash of sea salt in it, and do that to your water, at least a dash twice a day. The other thing would be taking a multi-mineral magnesium citrate or magnesium glycinate, and it has the potassium amino acid combinations and the calcium. The other thing is Pilates, or something that will force you to stretch, to really bend your flex your foot forward and then to extend it and to rotate your feet. This typically should solve it, but if not, please be seen by your doctor. Christina says the sound is choppy. Okay, yes, sound is choppy. Sound is static, sound is choppy. Oh, I'm sorry. You skipped my question at uva ursi right above. No, I didn't. Uva ursi and grapeseed shouldn't be continuously taken. You should have a reason for it, guided by testing. So now I have these email questions. It has been over 5 years since I left Southern California. This is from Maryland. And I'm still searching for a doctor that I have confidence in. I miss TLC. Dr. Ellithorpe, I am blood type O, and I know your preference for a carnivore diet. What is the difference between that and keto and paleo? Is it just the amount of animal meat eaten? Uh, Keto is just representing a reduction in the starch, fruit sugar, carbohydrates. A keto diet would be probably a diet that is somewhere around a 20, 30 gram limit if you're not a athlete. And so keto would represent a low carbohydrate diet that allows for vegetables and some salads as long as you're checking it. And then, of course, any type of protein. But if you get protein from beans and legumes and uh, these non-animal products, it's going to be very hard to be keto. The paleo diet tries to suggest, I don't believe in evolution. I think that's been thoroughly debunked by now. There's so many good scientists, Nobel laureates that have easily put that baby to rest. So, but in the paleo, they're saying, prehistorically and time back, man ran around chasing the saber-toothed tiger and eating a diet that had a lot of meat and fish and poultry and animal products in it, and only seasonally ate berries and so forth in the fall, and vegetables, root vegetables in the fall. That's what a paleo diet is. I'd like to get rid of the paleo because I'm a Christian. I believe in uh, the young Earth, 6,000 year history, and just stick with the data which says we have the meat and poultry and fish, and we have vegetables, and we have the grains. So a paleo diet would not include a diet that would have grains, because there would have never have been allegedly agriculture back then. Although Noah, when he got off the ark, the first thing he did was make a vineyard to make his wine. Then he got drunk, unfortunately. But thank God, our God is a forgiving God. So, getting to your statement there, Marilyn, I am mostly carnivore. I tell my patients that, but I will eat broccoli and green beans and asparagus, Brussels sprouts, spinach. Spinach is a high oxalate food, and I've had kidney stones, so I'm cautious with any green drinks. I like Juice Plus because it has the capsule of the vegetables in it, and I do take that every day, but it's a tiny capsule. It's not an entire drink that just absolutely soaks down the lining of my entire gut system. So I would say that that's probably not going to change for me. I'll be doing my fasting, my intermittent fasting, and my uh, um, carnivore-like diet, um, because I still cook for my family and they don't want to be carnivore, so I want to cook healthy and I want to make foods that please them, but will also at the same time protect their health. So that's how I say that. And then regarding finding someone, Marilyn, maybe come on out here once a year or so, and then look to find a doctor. Call the manager of that doctor's office and say, look at, is this doctor open to discussing lifestyle? Is this doctor open to doing some nutrient, vitamin levels on me and natural hormones, things like this, insulin levels, inflammation markers like HSCRP. Uh, and then you'll find them. They're coming up. Marilyn, have faith. Um, Remember, in the Bible it said, when Jesus returned, will he find faith on the earth? So let's have faith and let's believe in these doctors and help them to grow in their knowledge and do everything we can to move them in that right direction. And they can always come here and shadow us. Alyssa says, do cyst-type breast lumps appear suddenly large, the size of an almond? It wasn't there at my well woman check 2 months ago. How can I keep from getting them? I have a history of them. I I do all of your health protocols. Thank you so much for being such a caring person. And Dr. Happy New Year. Thank you, Alyssa. We would say fibrocystic breasts. um, I have a disagreement over the many, many years. And remember, if you can't make money on something, the business of medicine, the hospitals, the owned corporations of healthcare offices, the drugs, everything, if there isn't money to be made by the business side of this, they're not going to invest in it. But what I have found over 42 years is Stress makes a woman stop ovulating. And that's a blessing because you don't want to, on top of your stress, have a baby. Without ovulation, though, you're in estrogen dominance because you always do make estrogen. And estrogen is the breast development and the feminizing hormone of the female body. And that means the glands in your breast will develop. And if you are stressed, and are we not in this very stressful world right now, then you will be estrogen dominant. And then if you're in a high carb, you'll have the insulin factor stimulating development of fat and thickening of your blood vessels and tumors and excess growth response stimulated. And so this is the environment we're living in general. So I tell mothers to start their daughters on natural progesterone creams day 15 through 25 of every month, no matter what. Even if you're in a peaceful home and you think you don't have stress, it's not going to hurt anything, and it'll do a whole lot to get this balance with the estrogen there, because we need the estrogen. And I'm at 70 years old, and I used my estrogen today, and I used my progesterone today. And it helps me on my bones, my heart, my immune system, my brain, my memory, my sleep. So these would be things. And Dennis, by the way, another thing about sleep would to get your hormones checked. We had talked with your functional neurologist, so think about that too. But so fibrocystic breasts often show, especially as we start getting perimenopausal, we become estrogen dominant, and these show up. So it isn't that estrogen is wrong. Estrogen is extremely valuable, but it's in an environment where we would always have had progesterone cyclically there to balance it. And especially if Adam and Eve didn't sin, we would never die, and we would have the estrogen and ovulation every month. But seeing that we all have fallen short, but we thank God we do have natural progesterone, we can start using that day 15 through 25. Then lower the carbs, take enzymes. Fibrocystic breasts are an inflammation. It is the breast swelling in anticipation of getting pregnant. And then when the progesterone goes down, the inflammation of the menstrual cycle goes down, and that's what women have to go through. So taking systemic enzymes would be very, very helpful. Taking enough water, lowering the carbs, exercising. And there's really no data on caffeine or green tea, whether that's involved or not. But that would be my response to you, Alyssa. Katharina says, what kind of treatment do you recommend for rosacea? I'm in my late 50s and also have Hashimoto's. I began hormone replacement recently, and I think it may have, in part, triggered my rosacea. Rosacea, the cause of which is unknown, but we've had tons of cases of rosacea over the decades. And this usually is a skin manifestation, a lot like the angular cheilitis of the corners of the mouth. Our skin layers are a deposit for waste inflammation toxins. And so gut health is really the source for healing rosacea, psoriasis, these skin disorders, and so forth. So I would fast if you have rosacea a couple of days. Try and go 48 hours. Drink plenty of water. Take your vitamins. You don't need digestive enzymes if you're not a blood type A and you're not eating. So then I would stay out of the showers and facial creams, because you want your oil to move in the new layers of skin. And remember, it takes 3-4 months for a new layer of skin to grow out. You're from the inside out. And so you can scrub, you can buy cosmetics, you can put makeup on, you can put antibiotics, steroids on, you can do all this foolishness. But the cause is from within us. So have patience. Try and eat a 1 menu day. Be low carb. Start off with like a 2-day fast. And if you do a 2-day fast, if you're able to do that, I don't know if you're a diabetic or something, but in general, fasting, you'll even see a decrease in the redness. And then, of course, alcohol you want to avoid, um, fermented foods, high histaminic foods like aged foods, sauerkraut, aged cheeses, alcohol, wine, the sulfates in them, and so forth. And I would spray Argentine silver on my face every night. Stay out of the shower and the bath. Let your face dry and seal up, and eat a healthy diet. Take some of the uh, systemic enzymes, and that should solve it for you. And let us know how that goes, Katharina. Holly says, I am a 53-year-old woman, perimenopause, with very low DHEA, very typical, and was advised to supplement. My mother had estrogen dominant breast cancer twice. Is DHEA supplement okay? Yes, absolutely. With that history, and will it create masculine side effects? Well, that's why you see a doctor who can check the level and see how you're doing. It will increase your testosterone modestly, but we need our muscle mass. We need that so that we can age and have functionality with aging. So my DHEA level, I take 50 milligrams every day, and I think it was 170 was the last time I checked it. So you see, I'm of the opinion hormones don't cause cancer. I'm of the opinion that uh, Dr. Otto Warburg, Dr. Thomas Seyfried, uh, even Dr. Brown, he was a embryologist. In 1909, he published the trophoblastic theory of cancer. Anyway, all these men were looking at disturbed energy metabolism of the mitochondria. And that is from our environment and our high carb diet and our clogged capillaries. That's why I love chelation so much. And we don't drink enough water, and we don't take enzymes, or we don't make them. And then we have all this synthetic fat and trans fat. You know, the package might say zero trans fat, but you're being lied to. As long as a serving size doesn't have more than 0.5 milligrams, then they can say it's no trans. But you're eating this stuff over and over and over and over, and you're getting trans fats. So you have to understand we're living in a gotcha environment. If we don't have God in our heart being a check that you have to answer to, you'll sell anything and do anything to make a buck, I guess. Uh, and and so it is sad. But getting back to this thing about hormone and cancer and stuff, the uh, mitochondrial metabolic disturbance of our diet is disrupting the cells, and it makes the cell misbehave, you might say, and it reverts to a survival, much like when you were a single cell and you had your first two cells, 4 cells, 8 cells, 16, 32 cells. You know, when you had no heart or lungs or anything, you were just a blob of cells. It became very difficult for you to get your oxygen and your nutrients, and you needed that blood of the placenta. And so that low oxygen tension, which we believe is required for the blastula to come down into the uterus, see the uterine lining and attach to it, and then to make the blood vessels grow into the placenta, and then get the feedback. Once there's enough oxygen and there's enough nutrients coming, then there's DNA signaling that comes back saying we don't need to be aggressive anymore. We're getting our oxygen, but we're all living these lifestyles where we're eating so much junk. And so the mitochondrial metabolic cause of cancer and the trophoblastic theory of cancer and Otto Warburg's Nobel Prize for the respiratory cycle, oxidative stress is right on. And that's why so many, I have one of the longest lived glioblastoma multiforme because he went carnivore and he beat the odds. So we can do this, folks. So don't worry about DHEA. It's a precursor to help your testosterone. It's a precursor to help your immune system. It's a precursor to help your adrenals and your cortisol, your muscle mass. So why on earth are we saying hormones cause cancer? They don't. And the fact that a breast cell that was diagnosed as breast cancer has estrogen receptors and progesterone receptors is a good sign. It means that the cell itself isn't so angry, the type of the cancer isn't so bad. Constance says, re-asking my question from last week to provide more clarity. I sort through information I receive from doctors and a lot of cross-referencing on the internet, then give it all to God for his answer. His answer is to simplify my food diet, yes, keep exercising and stretching, socialize, keep praying, praising, and don't take any or little supplements, healthy and 70. Well, that's a good way to live, Constance. We are in a world where the plant kingdom is not producing as much nutrient density in an apple today that it did 50 years ago. We are having our skies pumped full of geostratospheric nanoparticular particulate material to stop the ultraviolet light coming in that would have made our vitamin D. So we're dealing with some unique problems. But that is indeed taking responsibility, Constance. I compliment you. Vanessa says, I was recently diagnosed with hormone-positive breast cancer. That's a good sign. I had a double mastectomy and now I'm focused on keeping the cancer away. I will not be doing any hormone therapy like tamoxifen, but I'm wondering if you have any suggestions on how to naturally reduce estrogen. Any foods or supplements that help aside from diet and exercise? Thanks. You know, it's interesting. In 42 years, and I've known this, I don't know a time I didn't know it, because in 1978, 6, somewhere around there, is when I read the textbook by John Beard, his trophoblastic theory of cancer. So I don't think hormones cause cancer. Now, let me give you an aside here. I'm a general practitioner. I'm not an oncologist. But in all these decades, I see women being given tamoxifen or anastrozole and other estrogen blocking materials. But then I asked the patient, did your oncologist check your estradiol level? And they say, what? Huh? What? Huh? And so here they're giving a medicine and they're not even checking the outcome of the estrogen. And I am biased on this, I admit, because my sister died from breast cancer, my oldest sister. And she was given things like that. And her oncologist didn't check the estradiol or tell her what will raise the estradiol if you buy into the cause of cancer is from these hormones. Well, so she died of a recurrence of her breast cancer, but my wonderful sister Linda worked so hard as a single mother, raising 5 children, teaching in the high school Spanish in a Lutheran high school. Wonderful, wonderful woman, but she would drink wine at night. Wine will raise your estradiol immensely. Any alcohol, beer, wine, mixed drinks, spirits. Why don't the oncologists ever tell you that? Especially if they're going to give you tamoxifen or anastrozole to block it. So very interesting. Same for men. If they take all that stuff, the estradiol will stimulate their prostate. I am amazed that these poor doctors don't know these things. And so we have to love them and help them and share this information because there's plenty of information out there. I mean, I'm 70 now. And so what was I, 22? 22 when I was in Dr. Harris's biology at Austin Peay State University. Yeah. So what? That's 48 years I've known this. It's amazing. Uh, so you can avoid alcohol if you want to keep your estrogen low. Avoid a high carb diet because if you eat a lot of starch and grains and oats and stuff in that moist, warm, oxygen-less gut of yours, you will ferment some and make alcohol. So that's why God makes in the liver alcohol dehydrogenase to help break down the normal dietary exposure we're going to get from some of these grains. Then avoid alcohol, be a low carb diet, and do intermittent fasting, exercise, check your estradiol levels at least every 6 months. And I always gave all my breast cancer patients progesterone. I told them to tell their oncologist because progesterone is the natural blocker for estradiol. So why don't they use that? Oh, that's right. You don't make money on natural things. There you go. Blessings to you, Dr. E. That's from Lisa. Thank you, and blessings, Max, to you. We all are blessed, even amidst our trials and tribulations. I spent a lot of time over the Christmas and New Year holiday thinking about all my blessings, and I am overwhelmed, even though I have many, many challenges. Dr. E, I use electrolyte powders mixed with water when I sauna and sometimes when I fast to keep from having leg cramps. That's what I do too. When I sleep at night. Okay. A friend suggested snake juice. It has 100 milligrams of magnesium citrate, 1,045 milligrams of pink Himalayan salt, 1,300 milligrams of potassium chloride, 3 milligrams of boron citrate. Would you recommend it or something else? Well, you see here, I can't recommend something I don't know. Who knows who's making it? Who knows what kind of testing? And there'll never be, unless we get government and bribes and lobbyists out of the scientific and Centers for Disease Control. I mean, geez, I don't think they've done very well. Their record is so poor. National Health Services, Human Health Services, I don't think they've done very well. But I know the individuals who run those, head the departments up, they always do very well. They get great promotions to, let's see, pharmaceutical company boards and useless consultant positions in the pinnacle of Harvard or other laudable places. So, I am very frustrated that we work so hard here to keep our patients healthy. No one passed, from my knowledge, here in all the years from this virus, flu virus that went through the past 3 years. I kept all my patients well, the obese, the hypertensive, the diabetic, the chronic diseased patients. And that because we do what we do, like what we're doing here. So can I endorse snake juice? I like the name, but I can't endorse it. But the contents, if they're real, are fine. It seems like having that much once a day should be great. But you see, I use our TLC multi-mineral that has that in it, and I advise my patients to use a salt that is more natural as a little shake into your water every day. All right, Linda, how long is hand, mouth, and foot disease contagious? Oh, that's way back for me when I saw pediatric patients as an ER doctor. My granddaughter has it, and she wants to see our new granddaughter's 2-month-old baby, but not sure how long I should wait. Thank you. Well, that's a virus. They're caused by virus, enterococcal virus. I know Coxsackie virus. and you'll get the skin rash, usually on the palms, hand, foot, and mouth. Inside the mouth, you'll see these little ulcers, and sometimes it's sore and painful on the little child. Usually it's 5 and under, and they won't want to suck their bottle or drink their fluids because it's sore. And they might get a low-grade fever. And as long as the fever is resolved and they're back to drinking and acting normal, 2-3 days, they should be fine. So the type before you get the fever and the sores, you are contagious. And so there's people going out there right now, they don't know, and children, because adults can get this too. And they don't know that tomorrow they're going to have the rash and a low grade temperature. So that's the catarrhal phase where you're shedding the virus. But look at, I'm seeing patients 42 years. You don't think people have been shedding viruses left and right every week of my life on me? And I stay well because I exercise, weight train, drink my water, take my vitamin D, use my systemic enzymes, get a good night's sleep, take my Juice Plus for my vitamin C's and nutrients. So typically when the child feels well enough to be drinking their water and there's no fever and they're behaving normally, except they still have the rash might take a week or two to resolve. They can go out and be around and socialize. That's what I would say there. Um, and the last one, Lynn. Hello, Dr. Rita. There are multiple types of magnesium which give the best advantage. Well, I like amino acid chelated minerals. So it would be the Albion, Albion. They're the major producer of nutraceuticals, both for my IV department and for our supplements. So you take an amino acid like calcium gluconate, calcium citrate, magnesium citrate, magnesium gluconate, and you put it on these molecules like this instead of salts like magnesium chloride or magnesium oxide. These are not absorbed very well at all. So that's what I would say there. Okay, and the last thing here, Tiziana said, yes, the sound is choppy. All right, I will tell Talon about that. I want to bring up one last thing in the last 3 minutes, so I'm done with all the questions. I had a doctor. He is the carbohydrate addiction doctor, and I think he's a pediatric surgeon, and he's the carbohydrate addiction doctor. And 3 days ago, he put out a YouTube, and he said, people think doctors are wealthy. Yes, tell me about it with my 2006 Saturn SUV old car that I bought used. We are not wealthy. When the corruption of the money was dangled in front of the doctors with Medicare back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was very little review, very little checking up on it. But then all of a sudden, once the doctors got hooked on it and they had all this money coming in, then they started doing audits and everything. Some doctors got in trouble. But now it is almost impossible to run a medical practice on your own with all the paperwork, all the billing, all the coding. And of course, we doctors are always, your doctor didn't do something right, the insurance company will tell you, your doctor didn't bill it right. And so we are in a catch-22. And now they are reducing the payment for insurances to doctors. It'll be down another 3.4%. So doctors are in a dilemma if they're going to stay serving people. Now, I'm determined to stay because I do this because I love the Lord and I felt called. So I'm from that generation where it was a calling to be a minister. It was a calling to be a doctor. So, maybe I'd get a chicken or some potatoes in the future. But long and the short of it is he's going to stop taking Medicare insurance because they're the biggest offender. But I'm telling you, the other insurances create a third party problem. And I might have mentioned this in the past when I was in my young training in the 1970s as a young doctor. I was with a group in Chicago Medical School that did mentorship, meaning I had to follow this doctor around all the time. And the guy I had was a family practice doctor in Chicago, and he didn't take insurance. And I remember seeing a patient come in and paid $2.50 for a follow-up visit, and a new patient was $7.50. This is back in like 1978, maybe somewhere around there. So you get the government involved, you get a third party insurance, and there's people in the middle will make the money, the CEOs and the executives of the systems that are running, but your poor doctor is being worked to death, and they are in no way living the high life. So we have to start looking at your doctors. They're out there. There are many doctors who want to work because they love people. And these doctors are not even, don't have an idea how to start their own practice, how to do it. And we're trying to train them here. So we ask for your patience, and we're going to start a new IV program where those who have always wanted to do EDTA, calcium disodium chelation, we are trying to work this out in a method that is affordable and accessible. We don't have the details quite yet to publish, but we're working on it because this is a time to get yourself healthy. Because I see some rocky weather ahead, and so you got to put your life jacket on and start taking care of yourself, and we'll help try our best to carry you through it. And so with that, I wish you a happy new year. I pray for wisdom and discernment for all of us doctors, and that we turn back to the foundation of preventive medicine, and that our patients take on their responsibility for their part of their health care with a healthy lifestyle as best as they can. And we'll see you back here Tuesday next week on the 9th, and that'll be after our clinic rounds. And we have another new doctor coming, praise the Lord. And we're excited for this. And so you have a good night. Happy New Year. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends. Take care. Good night.